right. So you should be seeing a slide at this moment. Welcome Mountaineers, big, nice, yeah. So this is a lot of the opening screens you should be familiar with because we covered these yesterday in yesterday's advisement video. That video was shared with everyone. That video was shared with everyone in the student body as well, so that if you needed to watch it after the fact and get more of those details, you could still do that independently if you missed that yesterday, or if you wanted to refresh any of the information. So here we're not going to dwell on it too long, except to give a reminder of those add-ons. The add-ons, what you're about to enter in your student portal, like this moment here during this activity, is your elective selections. Typically your pathway interests that go around your core requirements. We also want to know your add-ons interest, but that needs to be taken care of on the add-ons form, because by completing the add-ons form for any of these add-on options, it gets the ball rolling on further conversation or approval processes in the background before it'll actually hit your academic plan where your selections are made. So we can't have you just entering some of these things straight into your academic plan, your selections on your own, because of those middle steps that have to happen before it's on your course plan, your academic plan. So if you're interested in any of these add-ons, you need to complete the add-ons form by the end of the week. Those add-ons include honors, that's in core, or dual enrollment. Also, there's a number of different ways to handle world language credits, since it's not a high school graduation requirement, but it is a common requirement for higher education, that you have earned high school credit in 2 world languages, or excuse me, 2 credits in the same world language, beg your pardon. So there's a handful of options to handle how you can handle your world language credits, different than the standard, junior, senior year for Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. And if you're interested in any of those, that would be Spanish test out, learning a different language perhaps, or opting out of world language altogether. You can start those conversations by completing the add-ons form as well. And that's a reminder about Hope Rigger. Also, if you're interested in work-based learning, and I should also say Office Aide, if you're interested in work-based learning or Office Aide, that is a privilege for 11th and 12th graders only. But if you're a rising 11th or 12th grader, that is something that could be a very constructive way of completing your schedule around other requirements and pathway completion. So where the rubber meets the road here, for this morning's activity, you'll be entering your elective selections. These are not the add-ons that require further conversation between me and your teachers to get approval. Are you on track for honors approval or something like that? The elective selections we're about to make are the ones that you just tell us straight up, and we'll take that directly from you, that input directly from you, and incorporate it into your scheduling plans for next year. So the elective selections, you can see mentioned on this pathways line here, and beneath it, everyone must complete a CTAE, fine arts, journalism, or advanced academic pathway in order to graduate. Therefore, your elective selections should include and must include a way to make forward progress on at least one pathway, a way that you will also complete that pathway in time for graduation. So in other words, we don't necessarily need juniors or seniors asking for intro classes. You can't really start those intros as an 11th grader and have time to finish a 3-year pathway sequence. But anyway, if you need it, there was a handout given out yesterday, and that was also shared to the student body through an email yesterday afternoon. Some might call it early evening. That gives a recap of the add-on options with a little more detail about those opportunities. And also, hopefully more so for what we're about to do right now, you also have in front of you still the handout that has your actual elective options on here. It's kind of a menu of sorts, so you know what course titles to look for on the selection screen. All right, so let's get back to this. And all right, this is where you actually get to start entering your selections. We saw a preview of this process yesterday, and so hopefully, even if you haven't done this activity to give input for this year's scheduling, for instance, this will not be totally new to you. You had that preview yesterday, hopefully. All right, so go ahead and, gosh, I hope you have your Chromebooks out and open and logged in. From your Google account, click the waffle icon. And from that menu, you should have an app option for Infinite Campus. Honestly, I had to scroll down a few scroll strokes to get there, but it looks like this little quilt, this little patchwork quilt here, and click the Infinite Campus, that Infinite Campus logo. And when you do, it should give you a screen like this, and you might have to click this little burger menu here, but when you click that, select from that main menu, Academic Plan. And from there, you can actually skip this first screen. You don't need to enter anything for post-grad location or post-grad plans at the time. That does not have an impact on today's activity. Just hit next. All right, so just to make sure everybody is kind of on target with that so far, maybe teachers, if you don't mind, maybe just giving me a shout if you need another moment, or are we otherwise ready to move forward? All right, and as we go along, I am trying to keep an eye on the chat feed, and Miss Beal is also helping me kind of keep an eye on that too. So if you have questions along the way, go ahead and type them in the chat. All right, so seems like we are on track with this so far, so I'm going to move on. All right, so good job. Once you hit next on that, you should make it to the selection screen itself. And again, this is an overview. This is a bird's eye view of your 4-year academic plan, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. It has already in it a reflection of the classes that you have taken and the classes that you are taking now. And your core should be mapped out for the remainder of your high school career. Don't panic. Don't panic if you have some error messages in the core areas. We see this particularly with transfer students, where there might still be some transfer credits that are still yet to be entered. That's okay. It's going to happen. It will be taken care of and reflected in your academic plan. You may also see things in a little different order, or maybe a repeat class. Again, that's something. Don't worry about the core. Your counselor is in the process. When we go to process your selections, we will also fine-tune the core on your academic plan. So from there, though, I want to make sure everybody understands this. Only enter selections in the one column for your upcoming grade. So if in the screenshots I'll show you, this is an example of a current freshman who's making selections for their 10th grade year. And so their 9th grade year, their current year is grayed out. It shows the items that are currently on their schedule. But what is editable, the first column that is editable is their next grade level, and that's grade 10. That's the only column you need to be working in, is not this year's grade level, but next year's grade level. And also remember that handout, all the elective options are listed on that handout, and the pathway sequences, the titles of the different courses that belong to a pathway that you're interested in, they're all on that sheet as well, and you can see what order they should be going in. So that's important because you need to take pathway courses in a specific order. All right, so generally speaking, we divide up your elective selections into two categories: your top picks and your alternates. Let's talk about those top picks first. The top picks are the ones that should reasonably fit around your required core, and maybe a support course that is being chosen for you, maybe Spanish, personal fitness and health, that sort of thing. But those top picks should fit around and fill your schedule. So if you are entering 10th grade next year, you should be able to make 3 top picks. If you are entering 11th or 12th grade, enter 2 top picks. And to enter those, you just click in your electives subject box. And remember, on this handout, you should be able to see what subject area your elective of interest falls under. So if I'm wanting to take cosmetology next year, I see that that is falling under CTAE as an elective subject area. So I need to find that I need to search for that under the CTAE row. If I wanted chorus, I would look for it in the fine arts row. All right, and if it doesn't fit under either of those, it's other. All right, so whatever you're interested in for your top picks, you'll need to enter that into the top picks own subject box. Start typing in the title or course code that you're interested in. And as you do, a search box should show up underneath it and let you click the next available elective in that pathway that you're eligible for. So in this example, this student hasn't taken any chorus before. So the chorus 2, 3, and 4, those are grayed out, but chorus is selectable. Go ahead and click that, and that solidifies it as its own little tile in the selection box. If you need to remove it, if you select something by accident, that's okay. You can hit the X and that'll remove it. If you need to add another item under the same subject area, you can just click under the tile that's just been made and start typing in your course title or course number for the course of interest. So before I go too much further, I am going to lay eyes on that feed, check for questions. But also, if your classroom needs another moment, just let me know. We don't want to rush anybody. Okay, so we have a good question about the sports electives. Miss Beal has answered this in the chat feed, but what used to be the titles of the classes that would be common for particularly like basketball students, people on the basketball team might typically take the basketball class. It certainly would help them condition for it and stay trained for it, run drills, etc. And every once in a blue moon, additional students are approved for that as well. They've got to be willing to run the same drills and keep up with the pack and such. But if what used to be selectable as, say, basketball or advanced weights, which is commonly associated with the football drills, there's a wrestling weight training and things like that have their own course title this year. For now, if you need that class on your schedule for next year, instead select physical conditioning. That's going to fall under the box, the subject box, other. So right here, you can see the other row, and you just start typing in physical conditioning. If I move on and you forget the name of that class, look under the electives. Look on the electives menu handout. All right, and we had a quick question about work-based learning and Office Aide. Those are things that require further background work and further conversation, perhaps with the student as well, before officially being able to make that happen on their course plan or on their schedule. Because of that, it is part of the add-ons form. So that's the one that's got the tinyurl.com/N add-ons, tinyurl.com/NM add-ons. All right, so that goes for work-based learning, for Office Aide, different ways of handling world language credits, as well as to apply for honors and express interest in dual enrollment. All of those things fall under the add-ons form. One last thing before I move forward: dramatic writing. That is a wonderful option that you can take instead of British literature, your senior English class. Dramatic writing, since it is a core, we do not have that as part of today's elective selection activity. But if you are interested in that, please let Shara Troutner, Miss Troutner, let her know, please. She is gathering interest in dramatic writing. She is the teacher of dramatic writing, and so she is a great, she can speak more definitively about what that course requires and what it will involve, and how it's unique from British literature. And if you're up for that difference, if you're up for that different style, different way of meeting your English requirement, one of your English core requirements, talk to Ms. Troutner, and she will let us know that you've expressed interest. All right, so that's the top picks. We've covered the top picks. We're changing gears a little bit here. Those top picks that we're hoping will fit around your other required courses, like your core, we might need some backup plans. The alternate picks box is what we will use to know, hey, I as a student, I'm expressing my wishes that if one of those things doesn't work out, one of my top picks doesn't work out, I want this to take its place. This is the next item in line that I'm interested in. Enter at least 4 alternate picks in the alternates box. Regardless of the elective subject area, all alternate picks can and should be added to that box. And also, just like above with the top picks, if after you have entered and selected one of your first items that you've typed into here and selected from the search results, you click under that tile and start typing your next one. You can keep adding and adding. We need at least 4 periods worth, 4 credits worth. So if you see something that has like this Intro to Lifetime Sports here is got a 0.5 after it, that's indicating that it's a single semester class. It's only a half a credit. If you select any of your alternates to be, or your top picks for that matter, if you make a selection that is typically worth a half credit, please add with it another half credit selection to complete that period that it would go in. So you'd have the whole year filled for that period. All right. Also on these alternate picks, this is very important. This is very important. Notice there's a set of up and down arrows by each alternate. That helps you promote or demote the selections. So when I go looking at my students' course plans later, and I see where one of their top picks isn't going to work out, I'm going to look at the alternates and start at the top. And I'm going to use the top one as your highest preference backup plan. And if that still doesn't work, I'll go to the second one that's in line, and the third and the fourth, until something works out. Usually it doesn't. We don't have to go that deep in your preference layers, but it's good to have some backup plans in case of an invalid selection, or just something conflicts with an absolute requirement. So notice in this example screen, this student maybe entered things in order of where they saw them, how they saw them, as they read the electives handout. But then they were able to reorder their alternates in order of preference. The higher it is in the list, the higher it is in preference. That's how I'm going to read it. That's how your counselor is going to read it. All right, last but not least, hit save. If you don't hit save, this is all for nothing. Generally speaking, even if there's an error in the core, that your counselor will take care of those later. We review the core academic plan items a couple times annually, just to make sure you're still on track, but also to tidy things up if we have say a transfer student who at their old school did things in a different order, because that's how their old school did it, and that's okay. We just might have to reorder some of those standard course progressions for your core. Generally speaking, it should still help you save, and if when it does, it should give, when you try to save one way or another, it should give some sort of pop-up message and start with course plan was saved. It might have some errors listed after it. If you read through that error and it's all about core, don't worry about it. But if it does indicate maybe that you've somehow selected something you're not eligible for, be sure to tidy that up and resave. Let's see here. So I'm just kind of reviewing some of these more recent questions. I'm going to run back to some of this information about the add-ons, because I have some questions about work-based learning, and this answer actually goes for, well, let's keep it about work-based learning for now. When you are selecting electives in your academic plan, like you're doing right now or should be doing right now, make those selections as if work-based learning isn't going to happen. Okay, so that way we still know your preferences if for some reason work-based learning doesn't work out. Now you should still submit an add-ons form so that we know you're interested in work-based learning. You should still pick up a work-based learning application and get the process rolling. But make your elective selections right now as if work-based learning is not going to work out. So that way, if it does fall through, your counselor's not having to pick classes for you, and then you wonder, why in the world did I end up with insert course here, course title here? Something you don't want could end up on your schedule, and that happens sometimes if we don't have valid selections from you. Oh yes, thank you, Ms. Troutner. Quick plug, there is a promo video coming for dramatic writing, so stay tuned for that. Let's see here. Yeah, so any of these add-ons, work-based learning, honors, dual enrollment, Office Aide, world language test out, world language opt out, or requesting a different language that we don't typically offer, because all we offer is Spanish. Okay, so if you want a different language, all of those add-on interests are in the add-ons form. We need everybody to complete selections through this process. Complete your elective selections. Everybody's got to do that. The add-ons form is just something that is optional. You do need to submit that though if you are interested in any of those add-ons. Okay, so that link here, you can see tinyurl.com/nm add-ons. This is case sensitive, so capital N, capital M. All right, we're going to field a few more questions before we close off. All right. Let's see. There were a couple questions, I believe, more recent ones about saving or not saving the course plan. Again, when you hit save, it should say course plan was saved, and then the error message. If that message, confirmation message after you hit save, does not say course plan was saved, and there's not a way you can correct the error. In other words, if it's about core, and that is keeping you from saving, just email your counselor, and we'll follow up with you. This course selection process will be open through the rest of the week. We need everybody to dump in their selections right now, but if you mill things over a little more and it turns out, oh, you know what, I want to change some of my top picks, you can do that through the end of the week. Okay. Also, that add-ons form is due the end of the week as well. And I want to emphasize something very, very important. A lot of those add-ons just get the conversation started, but that need to take place in order to land those opportunities on your schedule. But where most of them, you could also follow up with the appropriate related parties later. Like if you wanted to test out and you didn't realize you wanted to test out until March or April after that form is closed, you could still arrange that. We could still work on that. Honors though, this add-on form in this time frame of this week, honors is only accepted through this add-ons form, and it is only accepted this week. So it's important, if you are interested in honors, you take care of that. All right. Let's see here. Strolling through the questions and comments again. All right, Spanish 2 is highlighted red for the student. That probably means perhaps they opted out of Spanish this year, and it's just not tidied up on their course plan. That's not something they have to do, okay? But it might not be tidied up on their course plan to also carry that opt-out forward to Spanish 2, where that would fall off of the course plan. That's something that is part of this next wave of edits and fine-tuning that the counselors will make. So don't worry about that. That will be taken care of. All right. Oh, yes. Taking Spanish early. That of all these different ways of handling world language credits, most of them you would express interest in through the add-ons form. But if you want to do Spanish earlier than its typical junior, senior year placement, you can X out, on the Spanish 1 or Spanish 2 tile that is showing on the course plan already. You can click the X on that, and that allows you then to type it in on the foreign language or world language row under your coming grade level. You have to remove it before you can start typing it in somewhere else, though. So now, if you're currently taking Spanish 1 in an early year, that is something that your counselor will tidy up and move over for you as we make further refinements to course plans. But if you take care of it now and scooch that Spanish 2 over for us, cool, thanks. That works for me. All right. Again, if you are, so physical conditioning as a class is something that requires pre-approval, but you can go ahead and add it to your elective selections now. The people who need to add it as a top pick, as one of your top picks, are the people who are going to be on these teams next year, or who maybe plan to try out and get on these teams next year. And that's, if you're, football, anything from football, archery, uh, name a team. There's going to be a little bit of something for every team in that class, and so include that among your top picks. Others may request it, and there will be an approval process. You've got to be willing to keep up with the pack and do everything that's asked of you in that class. So that does require pre-approval, but you can add it to your selections. Those groups need to add it to their top picks. All right, more questions about Spanish that I got covered. Upcoming seniors do not, oh, sorry, never mind. Current seniors, I was about to say current seniors don't need to do this activity because you won't be here next year. We'll miss you, we'll miss you. All right. Okay, so it looks like we've pretty well covered the questions. Now, again, I want to give a reminder to the students. If you need to make some modifications this week, you still have this week to access your academic plan again, modify it in the way you need, and hit save again. That also gives time for distance learning students. We will follow up with distance learning and absentees. Folks like that to be able to make their selections as well. So you have that time frame of this week to complete your selections or modify your selections, as well as complete the add-ons form for honors, dual enrollment, base learning, Office Aide, Spanish test out, Spanish opt out, or expressing interest in a different world language altogether. All right, so I think we've made it through. This concludes our activity, and if anybody was not able to save, again, please let your school counselor know, and we will work that out with you while the selection window is still open. All right, thank you all so much. Have a great day. You should hear the bell dismissing for everyone to head to second in a moment.